Okay, on this first exercise, I'm going to show you the difference between volumes. We will use different shapes and different options to create different volumes, and the difference between solid volumes and void volumes. We can do that in Revit, and this is something that we have to understand because in architecture we have spaces and we don't have solid volumes. So first we need to define the shape, and then we need to define the volume or the space within that shape. We're going to do something very simple using the option architecture component model in place. So here you have to decide what kind of element you want to model. Here we have a lot of things. Let's select walls. We can select a lot of things, but let's select walls. And immediately you have here different options, and these are different geometric features that we can use. So we're going to use extrusion, and by using it, I will show you how it works. If we select extrusion, here we have this menu, and this menu we can select lines or rectangles or polygons or circles or curves. We're going to do something very basic with lines. And if you click somewhere, and we're going to create a 30 by 30 square, so I can type 30 and 30. Okay, that's the square. And then we have to click finish. And by clicking finish, you see that at any moment you can edit this by dragging this. Don't do that. If you switch to the 3D model, if you don't have this 3D model, you can open this default 3D view here. And you see that we have the square here, but it has a thickness. It's not just a shape, it has a thickness. We can select this, and then we move it up and down, and we can make it, we can change the height of this. I want to adjust the height of this to the levels that we have created. Okay, so here we have level 1 up to level 3. So I'm going to adjust this up to level 3. Just select this arrow and just there's snapping point here. And level 3 is 30 feet. So level 1 is 0, level 3 is 30. We finish the model, and we have 30 by 30 by 30 cube. Now let's explore another option. We can explore another component model in place option. So let's go to architecture. Well, before doing this, what do I want to do? I want to create like a circle here, like a dome, a circle here on the top of that square. And to do that, because by default, we are using horizontal planes, we can use level 1, level 2, and level 3. So every time I use this option, component model in place, select walls to be consistent. So here we can set the work plane. And if we click here, we have level 1, level 2, and level 3. So I can start modeling things in horizontal planes. But what if I want to model something on a vertical plane? Then I have to create another entity, which is vertical. Okay, let me show you. And on level 1, I'm going to go to architecture reference plane. And on this reference plane, I'm going to select the midpoint of this line. I'm going to go down. And here, click name, I'm going to name it vertical reference plane. Okay, so I have created this vertical reference plane. And now I can draw in this vertical line. Reference planes, usually they are not visible in the 3D view. Okay, so we don't know where the reference plane is. We can see it in levels, level 1 or level 2. You can see that. but we don't see this on the 3D view. So I want to create the dome right here. Okay, so I want to create the dome here on the top of this box. I'm going to create a half a circle or half a sphere. So if I select component model in place, I'm going to select walls again. Now I'm not going to use extrusion. I'm going to use revolve. Okay, so for revolve, we have to create a shape, and then we have to select an axis, and then we revolve it. And this is what I want to do. Okay, so let's select revolve. And now, if we don't do anything, here we don't have a plane associated to that. But if we do this, we have the reference plane, vertical reference plane. This is the reference plane that I have created before. So I have to select this and click OK. And what do I want to do now? So let's select the front view. And if we select the front view and we have this circle here, that means that this is not the right view to create the reference plane. So probably we have to create to select the right view. So in the right view, we see that we have an active we can select points, and then we can do this. So I want to create a dome, like a half circle here. So first I'm going to create the boundary line, and finally I'm going to create the axis line. So if I want to create the boundary line, I'm going to create well, let's create a circle, and then I will edit it, and I will show you how to do it. So let's create a circle, select the midpoint, and let's make it 10 feet. Okay, the radius of this circle is 10 feet. Now I want to create like not half, but 1/4 of the circle. So I do this. So if I revolve this part, then I will have the dome. But first we have to cut this. So we have to just delete the part of the circle that I don't want to use. So there's another option here, the split element. So if we split element, and if you see that hovering the mouse here, I create like a vertical cut, this one, and I can do the same here with this horizontal line here. And now I can select this, delete this line or this part of the circle, and this is the shape that I'm going to revolve. Then I have to create axis line, and the axis is going to be this one. I click OK, and there you go, finish model. You see that we have a perfect half sphere here. Okay, so now what's the difference between a solid and a void? We have created solids. With this option, we create solids. There are other options in Revit, but we have decided to, well, I have decided to do this to show you the difference between solid and void. How can we tell that this is a solid? Volume. If you activate here the section box is something very useful because we have that box and we have these active arrows. So by dragging these arrows, we can cut the volume that we have created. And how can I tell that this is solid? We have to go to visibility graphics here in the properties windows. In the visibility graphics, I want to make the cut section black. So activate this, and we have to go to walls. So it's important to know what kind of option we have created or we have decided we have selected when we are working with this component model in place. So we have working with walls, and the cut pattern, I'm going to make it solid fill, and the color is going to be black because I want to bring out the section cut. We apply, we click OK. It didn't work because I did it on Windows. Okay, so I have to do it in walls. So let's do it again. Override, solid fill, color, black. Okay, apply. There you go. So now we see that if we move the section, okay, so when we are out of the object, it's white, but if we cut the object, little by little, we are looking at this element. Okay, so every time we have a section, we see that it's solid. There is no space here. It's just a solid block made of a cube and a sphere. What if we want to make it void? What if we want to create a space here? And this is what architecture is about. It's about creating spaces. So I have to open a void, and that's what I'm going to do now, using again this reference plane or vertical reference plane that I have created. Okay. So if I want to make sure that I'm perpendicular, I'm looking at this element so that I can work with the reference plane. You see that I can use either the west elevation or the east elevation. Let's use the east elevation. So on the east elevation, we see this, and we see the elevation. And I'm going to use that elevation to create a void here. So to create a void in this component model in place, first I want to select it, and then I have to click on Edit in Place. And now clicking on Edit in Place, I have to click Create, and you see that I have this menu, Extrusion and Revolve. We have used these two options. And now I want to create a void form. So I have to select the void form, and I have exactly the same menu, Void, Land, Revolve, okay? So I'm going to use a void by extrusion, and then I'm going to use a void by revolve. So let's do it. Void by extrusion. And what plane do I have to pick? I want to pick the reference plane here. Okay. So I want to create a void here. So to create a void here, let's say that I want a 2-foot wall. So I want to create a offset of 2 feet. Let's do it. First, I can click on that corner and I can type 2 feet, and I can go down. I can do the same here, 2 feet, and can go down. And I can use offset now. If I use offset and I type 2 feet here, you see that I can go either upwards or downwards. I want to go downwards like this. And now I can use trim. I can do it. Remember that this has to be a closed loop. So if we leave these lines here, it won't work. So click OK. And then we have to close this element here. Okay, so that's the void. Finish, edit. And what do we see here? On the 3D view, you see that we have created a void. So if we want to create that void, let's drag it here and here and finish model. And now you see that we have created that. If we drag the section box, we can see that we have a void in the square, but we don't have a void in the circle, because To create a void in the circle, we have to select the revolve void option here. Well, actually, I have to create like a circle, a void circle on the square, and then to create a revolve. But I think I can do it with the same shape. Okay, let's do it. So I'm going to use the east elevation again. By default, you see that we don't see the inside lines. They are there, and if you hover the mouse, sometimes, yeah, you realize that we have this. But if you select wireframe, and now we see it's okay. So a wireframe, the difference between a wireframe is that we see all the lines here. If we select a hidden line, we see only visible lines. We don't see that it's what's behind a solid thing. If we want to see transparent elements, we have to use wireframe. So let's use east. And now I want to create a shape. I want to revolve that shape, and then I want to create like a void here. So let's do it. But probably it won't work because, yeah, I have to select both. Okay, I'm going to do this first because I have two different objects here. I have the square, and then I have the circle, and I have to create two different voids. Let me show you. So if I select this and I select edit in place, I can create a void form, a void extrusion, selecting the vertical reference plane. And I want to create a circle here. So the circle, I want this to be 2 feet. And then I have to go up to the, well, I can extend this, it doesn't matter. Then I can trim this. Okay, so on the 3D view, I have created this, and then I have to revolve because I want to create a circle here. I want to create a hole in this roof. So I can finish. I will discard changes because I didn't use revolve. I think I used extrusion. So let's do this, edit in place, create, void form, void revolve, yes. Reference plane, I want this to be 2 feet. Then this is going to be the midpoint. And trim, delete. So now I have this option, I have the axis line option. So I select axis line. This is the axis. I click finish and finish model. And you see that now I have created a void, but just in the square, not in the circle. If I move the section box, you see that now I need to create this void here. Okay, so let's do it. Go back to the east elevation. Now we have to select this, edit in place. We have to create void, revolve, pick the reference plane, and let's create a curve. I can select the center and end arc. So the center is going to be this one, the end is going to be that one. And now I have to go up and there will be a snap. Okay, so this is what I need. And now I can close this. Before finishing this, I need the access line, this one, and then I can finish. And on the 3D view, I will see that we have the void in this shape, in this model. And if I move this, I can see that I have created a void. Okay, what if I, for example, I want to create the same thing that I want to create like a door here, like an arch. How can I do it? I can go to the east elevation again. Now I want to select this because I want to open a door on the square. I have to edit in place, create void form. I'm going to use extrusion now. I'm going to pick the same vertical reference plane. And with this, I want to create a circle. So if I want this to be the same arch that I have done here, but now I want to create a cylinder. It's not a sphere, it's a cylinder. So that's why I'm not using revolve. I'm using extrusion. So here I can select an 8-feet circle. We click here, we go to the 3D view. We extend this beyond the limits of the square. We click finish model. Sometimes that happens. If that happens, there's another option. You have to use cut geometry. Cut, then we have to select this, and then we select that one. And now we finish the model, and you see that we have created this opening. But now we have a space. We have the entrance to this space, and if we are here and we look up, we see that we have done here. And if we drag this here, there you go. Here we can see that we have created that void, and now we have space. We don't have a solid element. We have something with interior space, and this is what architecture is about. It's about creating spaces.